Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Rufino's on Highland Road, welcome to the Friday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro, Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio.
Mr. Curtis.
Mr. Curtis is in the house.
Barry.
Barry the bartender's in the house.
Max didn't show up till late. Slacker.
Yeah, but he's on a golf roll with some of his picks, so we're gonna cut him a little slack.
Is he
today? Yeah, he's doing well. I mean, more power with Drew. There's nothing we can do about that.
There you go. Yeah,
but,
did great. Best pick. One holing out. Boy, I like your curve. The Hanny curve. Can I apply it to your position, sir?
Are you in a mood?
No. Well, Clemson minus 1.5.
I thought you'd be in a good mood. College basketball.
TCU plus 4.5.
Yesterday, the busiest day of the college baseball.
Yeah, it is.
Well, basketball.
You know, some Saturdays are, but this is where, all of the big boys, as far as, the conferences that we care about the most, and sprinkled in with some mid-majors. But it's because, for instance, like the ACC and the Big East, they don't play during the day today. They're down to their semifinals. Their finals on Saturday. So they don't have a morning session. But you had a morning and evening session that was – everybody had one yesterday. It's a lot, Charlie. It's a lot. Let's just say that. You get a discipline, management, in-game management. It's a lot. I can't be messing around with, the hole-in-one fest with, him at TPC or Rainey. Enough is enough, Charlie. We all have limitations, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course. Ole Miss keeps their season going. Oklahoma keeps their season going. Auburn's season, at least the relevant part of their season, may be coming to an end here. And Kentucky.
What do you think? You think they're out?
I think
so
right
soft,
this
man.
second, it's so close.
It is close.
It didn't do them any good yesterday with Miami of Ohio losing. I don't know that that's going to keep them out for sure when this is all said and done. But I would put it this way. They got to put their head on the pillow 2 more nights before they find out whether they're in or not. I don't think they're going to sleep particularly well. I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be really close.
I'm leaving Bally's yesterday, and I mean, I am watching the first 25, 30 minutes of the game, and Auburn is just so in control. Tahad Pettiford is having a good day. He had a great game. He was a great game. He was the only player retained. He's really, really, really good, highly recruited. I mean, he's a fun player to watch, too. He's got a lot of different offensive moves. It's just, when he's on, he's just so fun to watch. But I go on the way home, go see the St. Joseph's Newman, tennis matches over at LSU. And so there were, by the way, Danny Bryan's crew is playing this afternoon against Oklahoma. They were warming up while those matches were going on. Go by and check them out.
Is Oklahoma good?
They're all good in the SEC.
Okay.
Not as good as LSU, though.
Okay.
We're flexing. We're flexing in tennis now, Charlie. So anyway, I said, wait, how's this game tied? And then like 2 minutes later, I check, how's this game? How are they down 7? And golly, and the final score may be a little bit inflated because it was like 4 with under a minute to go, and Auburn just couldn't hit their threes, and Tennessee was hitting all of their free throws. But man, that freshman, I'm talking from the start of the season, and it was that Texas A&M game. And I think it was even Fishback was in the SEC studios, SEC Network studios, saying, we are kind of watching this young man grow up. And he's like, man, you're 6'10", you can do this. You all bigger, like trying to get his confidence going bigger. He was really, really good yesterday. They sat him for a few games coming down the stretch, if you remember, because he had a little injury. Mm-hmm. But, and you listen to him talk, it's like if a future lottery pick needs some confidence, he's still getting there, and he's going to get. He's got to put on a little muscle, a little, and he will. We all do with age, but he's really, really good. I think he is so far away from reaching his potential because his skill level, Charlie, is just. It's outstanding, man. And he took over. I mean, threes in transition. I mean, we're not talking about just spot up threes when they sag down low. I mean, he's a talent, man. He's fun to watch, and I think he's got his head screwed on right.
He really, at that point where he took over the game, here's what was impressive to me: the threes that he made forced him to come out on him, and he was able to, instead of taking some contested shots, he was able to shot fake and go around him and go to the goal, get to the line. Now, there was one point in the game, and this was probably somewhere in the last 6 minutes or so, where he missed 3 free throws in a row.
Oh, geez.
On two
fill me
trips. He missed 3 free throws in a row, got it back, got fouled, went to the line, and made both. Okay. And now, Ole Miss had closed to within
Auburn
had closed to within one possession of covering. They weren't going to win the game, but you could Tennessee wanted to put the game away, and they put the ball in his hands. I'll tell you what I kept thinking watching him yesterday. Somebody is going to steal the hell out of this guy by 5 or 6 picks in the draft.
You're getting impressed by him.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've always liked him, but I was really impressed yesterday with what he was able to do. And because he is considered behind Destania and behind Peterson,
Debonsa,
and behind I'm going
I
to learn to say
know
this
why.
right.
It's all right.
And behind Boozer, somebody's going to steal this kid in the middle of the top 10. 4, 5, 6, something like that, and he's going to make 8 All-Star teams. So
I like Boozer
level.
because he comes to play every night, and a guy in a load management type of climate, which is the NBA. Charlie, I think he's just going to. I'm not crazy about compilers, all right, but man, I think he is just going to. He's ready for a long, healthy, productive career. Is he that player to lift a team to a championship? I don't know. I think he's as close to his ceiling as he is right now, but I think he's also the safest pick, if that makes sense. Debonsa might be. Peterson, even at the TCU gave him all they could handle on the LED court last night, by the way. R.I.P.
Yeah.
but he shows you he was so good last night too, but I think I think he's just scratching the surface is what I'm trying to say. I think he's really, really got a high ceiling. Like you said, maybe, 4 or 5 years down the road, they're like, oh, wow, man, this guy, can you believe this guy lasted to 5 or 6?
There's more than 1 year that I can point to where he would have been the number 1 pick in the draft. Mm-hmm. Not this year, but in a number of years, he would have been the number 1 pick in the draft. So I'm a big fan. If anything, if I'm a Tennessee fan, I kind of, as you get into the tournament, I want you to be more aggressive.
That's the thing.
Take the.
I think that's part of his sleight of build right now too.
Yeah.
As he gets a little heavier, a little bit stronger, I think he will. And I've seen him. He's not that alpha dog type of like, man, give me the damn ball right now, kind of guy. And he's just getting there, and I don't know. Because the guards are more offensively potent than Ziegler was, but sometimes to a detriment. Sometimes they will pull it early in the shot clock, not even trying, and that they can hit it. Something explosive. They're not as good on defense, but sometimes those guards, their confidence, and they're not close to the player of men, is probably a little bit stronger than their men's.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
For the other team in that game, Auburn, here's the final resume. They are 17-16. Their net is 39. Lenardi's got them as the second team out right now. Oklahoma, he actually has an eyelash in front of them. Auburn played the second most Q1 games out of anybody in the country. Only Ole Miss played one more. 17 Quad 1 games, but their record in those Quad 1 games was 4-13. They have the best win in the conference this year, the game in Gainesville. And they have a game against St. John's from back in November that is a quad 1 win. They also beat Arkansas and Kentucky at home. But they lost the other 13. So are you going to put a team in, Jimmy, that is 17-16, and as good as that schedule is, 10 of the 17 wins are out of Q3 and Q4. So they're a couple of those are conference games, but they're still out of Q3 and Q4. I don't. If it's close, I'm tempted to vote them out. I mean, if you lose, I know it's a tough schedule. I get that. I respect that. I want to reward that, but you got to win some more of these games. I think you got to do better than 17.
That's just only half the piece of the puzzle. I mean, it's okay. Everybody wants to just like one. This team went there. Well, what are the people what are the teams in competition for this bid are doing?
Glad you asked. Okay.
I mean, because it is.
Glad you asked.
We've been seeing, and I don't like to, but to my memory, this is by far. It's not even close. The softest bubble. I mean, the bubble teams to go 0-9 over the weekend, to go 0-5 early this week. I mean, nobody wants to. For LSU, as bad as they were, 16th out of 16 teams to be first 4 out. I mean, how many times I come to the show and say, "Oh, we're still first 4 out, though." I mean, because that's what that. I'm just telling. Lenardi's not putting them there because he likes them.
No,
because
he's got
that's how weak the bubble is.
The bubble is okay. So.
And so the natural link would be, okay, the mid-majors are weakened. And that's part of it.
How do you like
Mountain West Conference going to get maybe one team.
How do you like Oklahoma against them? Oklahoma's overall record is 19-14. They won the same amount of Q1 games that Auburn did, 4, but they lost 9.
To me, Oklahoma's better.
Okay.
Oklahoma's better. First of all, you start on the bench. Okay, much stronger on the bench.
Portamo's absolutely.
Okay. The other thing is, and you don't get any credit, but I think that is the worst luck team of all of basketball this year. To lose double-digit leads at home against Texas and Alabama, to lose a lead in the last 30 seconds at home against Arkansas, to get double buzzer beatered in Columbia, Missouri. Yeah. This has been they have just had so many, but they're well coached, and that's the thing about with Beard and Ole Miss and Moser and Oklahoma. I don't know what happened for most of the season. They're underachievers, okay, but they are well coached, and we are seeing it right now because they are rolling.
They're 47. Auburn is 39, but right now Lenardi likes them a little bit better because of the fewer Q1 losses. The other team that is the last one this second is Texas. It's very easy. We're doing them all out of the same league.
Texas is in.
And they are between Oklahoma and Auburn. They're at 42. Auburn's still ahead of them. But if you go to Q1, they're 6-9 instead of 4-13.
6-9 is respectable.
6-9 is respectable.
Yeah.
Okay. They got one Q3 loss, which the other teams don't have. So that's a little bit of a blight on them because they lost at home to Mississippi State. If they had just won that game, I don't think there'd be any question at all. But right now, the 3 teams that are squarely on the bubble, 1 in and 2 out, are Texas, Oklahoma, and Auburn. You want to talk about and just on the other side of them, SMU, Missouri, and Indiana. SMU and Missouri in, Indiana out. That's your bubble as we start the day.
So of the SEC teams, this is what I think, and this is what I would do. Auburn would be out for me, and Texas and Oklahoma in.
Okay.
You?
I would definitely have Texas in with the 6 Q1 wins of the 3. Oklahoma, man, it's close. What bothers me about them is I got a hard time with a team 4 games below 500 in a league.
Well, how about 6 games below 500 last year?
Yeah, I know. I didn't like that either. Okay, so since you asked me my opinion of what I would do, if you're 4 games below 500 in a conference, even a tough conference, you're out. Okay, now if you win the conference tournament or if you get to the finals, if Oklahoma ends up there on Sunday, we'll see.
It is the Lenten season. How about this weather, man? Did you talk about laid out for tomorrow's St. Patrick's Day festivities? Yes, indeed. Lane Kiffin, the Grand Marshal. Is that right? Did I hear that right?
If there's a parade, he's the Grand
And
Marshal.
him and a nephew. Yeah, if there's a parade, he's
If they put an Easter parade downtown, he's the Grand Marshal.
I mean, I don't recall him ever being the king of a Mardi Gras parade in Oxford. But anyway, we continue here at Ruffino's in the Lenten season. Crawfish gnocchi. How about that, huh? Brown butter poached Louisiana crawfish, charred asparagus with sauce Sharon. Pizza featured today is a truffle cream, prosciutto, arugula, balsamic glaze, grana padano. Our entree features today the seared halibut with the sauce American, white and green asparagus, hollandaise drizzle on top. Suggested wine pairing is a Frank family Chardonnay out of Napa. Crawfish pot pie, hello. Rich crawfish bechamel, mushroom gazelles, sweet corn puff pastry. Suggested wine pairing is a cake bread Sauvignon Blanc. That sounds great. And then a little Venice bolognese. Chris Macero. Machero, venison bolognese, ground venison, ribeye, and filet, pancetta, Ruffino's red sauce, a rigatoni, and herb ricotta. Suggested wine pairing is a Proverb Cabernet out of California.
We got action already going on right now. George Washington with 17-point lead on 27-4 St. Louis. They are marching towards the end of the first half there. And Michigan leads Ohio State 10-5 in the early going in the quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament. Live at Ruffino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Odd and Hanny from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
You know, watching the World Baseball Classic. Was that Macero dressed up like the Pope in Houston at the game the other night? Huh?
If he had a White Sox cap on.
Chris, how are you?
No, I'm that new pizza wrestler. Have you seen that guy? He spins the pizza around the dough and then he throws it at the opponent. Have you seen that yet?
No. Wait. What?
Got to be the Italians, right?
What?
So there's like an Italian wrestler. You haven't seen this, and he has like a pizza dough and he spins it around and then he throws it at the opponent and knocks him down. You gotta find it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Very good.
It's racist, Jimmy. It's racist. It's racist.
Yeah, I
racist
got you.
against Italians.
Yes. Anyway, but I mean, I ask. I mean, you're born and raised in right here in Boston and in America, but you could probably qualify as a fan for Italy. I mean, we got Pasquantino. I mean, Caglianone. I mean, Aaron Nola.
He said he'd never even been to Italy.
Nola.
Yeah.
You know what's pretty funny is the pitcher that beat the United States team the other night he's just like a guy from Southern California. No ties to Italy at all.
Did he grow up in Little Italy, part of San Diego? Huh? Mimos? Huh? No. How's championship week treating you?
It's tough to care about it that much during college basketball. It's like the same as these NBA games. I mean, last night you had Celtics, OKC, but it's hard to care when you have all these other games going on and there's so much action all day long. And like you mentioned earlier, the games are already kicked off today. We got St. Louis already trailing big to George Washington. So St. Louis is just a team falling off the map.
Thursday, yesterday is it's a busy day. I mean, in college basketball and all the stronger conferences, the bigger conferences are all playing, AM, PM doubleheaders, so it's, like the ACC and the Big East, they're just evening sessions now. But, it's one of my favorite. Not in the cards this year to go to Las Vegas. We're doing some shows here and some of the sports books, and, that's made it. I mean, it's made it more tolerable, huh, Charlie? That we can still have a sportsbook experience down here without having to get on an airplane and go fly out to Vegas.
I'm looking forward to the next week.
But for a long time, it's been my favorite weekend more than March Madness, just from a crowded aspect. Anyway, who we on today? Who we looking at?
I'm not like super in love with the card just because we're getting a little nitty gritty here. There's not as many angles, and I did look at one game that you guys were talking about. I know you were high on Tennessee after yesterday's performance, but if you look at the Tennessee Vanderbilt game today, the peculiar number on the total, it's 146. These two teams just played last Saturday, 86-82. A Tennessee win, Ken Palm has this game at 76-75. That's 151. You look at the posted total, 146 minus 112. I played a little bit over. It's the only game I played today. I just find it peculiar that this total will be that low. If you look at Vanderbilt's last few games, I mean, pretty much very high scoring. Like I said, 86-82 win over Tennessee, 89-86 over Mississippi, 91-77 loss to Kentucky, 88-80 to Georgia. Granted some faster-paced teams in Tennessee, but Vanderbilt likes to get it up and down when the shots are falling. I think this has the potential to be a little bit more high-scoring than the 146 total.
Chris, do you think they just split the difference? Because these teams played twice in a matter of 2.5 weeks. The first one was 69-65. The other one was 86-82. And it wasn't that much time in between. You think they just split the difference on this?
Yeah, I mean, they probably do. I mean, there is the metrics for that. But I just think both of these offenses, and like you were saying, Ament's playing a lot better. So maybe that's an extra offensive gear that Tennessee's not used to having. I mean, they're both top 20 in offense. I just know sometimes when the team tries to push the pace a little bit more that Tennessee can play faster if they want. They don't have to slow it down. But they like to play very fast. Vanderbilt. So I just expect it to be a high scoring game. It's been tough betting these unders in these tournament games because of the fouling. We know what happens at the end. These teams will refuse to give up the game. They'll just play it to the end. And I'm not I'm jumping on a bunch of games today just because I do have some pretty long shot conference tournaments that are still live. I have Ohio State at 80-1. Granted, they're up against Michigan right now. I have Seton Hall at 14-1. But my best chance, I think, is I have Miami at 25-1. They're going up against Virginia, a team that they almost beat last Saturday. 3 Saturdays ago. It was a close game throughout. They ended up losing by 3. I think they played Virginia pretty good. I like the fact that Miami's got a game in already. So if you didn't have anything on Miami for the tournament, I would lean Miami today, getting a couple points. I'm hoping they can get through, and I'm hoping the way Clemson's playing, they might be able to knock off Duke because Duke didn't look. Duke was asleep for the first half against Florida State, and they went down in the second half. They had the big rally. Credit that they got it done, but it'd be nice to see if Clemson could somehow knock Duke off and Miami could beat Virginia. I'd have a great hedge position for tomorrow.
Yeah, I did all of the 4, not the Big East because it was so tight between St. John's and UConn, but fading the teams because I think Duke is set. They're the number 1 overall seed. I think Michigan's number 2 overall seed. I think that Arizona's set, number 3 overall seed, and Florida number 4. They're subject to be disinterested. In these conference tournaments, with the more important NCAA tournament on this. So I took teams on opposite brackets. I took Miami and Virginia in the ACC. I took Arkansas and Alabama in the SEC, which I don't really like Alabama's team that much. I took Michigan State in the Big Ten on the opposite side of Michigan, and in the Big 12. Help me out. I mean, I can't even remember who I got.
Texas Tech.
I had TCU. I had TCU at 90-1. I thought we had it last night. They took the lead. I was wise enough to be doing the Jimmy Ott special. I was watching the game. I was smart enough to take some Kansas in play, so I wasn't going to be totally upset. Yes. But I was, I'm going to have a shot at 90-1 here. Another big dog that you didn't mention, Florida. I was with a bunch of Kentucky fans yesterday over at Circus Swim. They were nice enough to invite me down. They had a beautiful cabana, 85 degrees. Couldn't really beat it. But I asked them about the game today, and all of them said that they were going to get boat race. So they're all expecting a beatdown by Florida for what it's worth.
You said some nice Florida fans? Really?
No. I was with some Kentucky fans. And they expect to get. Okay. Yeah, they expect to get boat raced by Florida today.
That's why I was clarifying. It's a rarity to find some really cool, nice, generous Florida fans. So anyway, they're the biggest dirtbag alum base in the conference. Just to let you know.
So you got to try hard in this league.
Yeah, you got to try hard in this league. That's right, Chris. So anyway,
hey, listen, that's my best outcome. Florida to win it all. So if they can repeat, I'll take their fans with a grain of salt and move on.
No, I'll take them too. Good thing the administration just, let, Tex and, co-eds, that's okay. We'll let you go. So they still got their coach. But anyway, others are more interested in morality championships. But I digress. But I'm giving you two, though, in the SEC, in this league. And those are my favorite picks last night. These are my favorite picks again today. And the commonality is these guys can coach. I don't know what happened for most of the year. I know Oklahoma got a bad run of luck. But Porter Moser in Oklahoma and Chris Beard at Ole Miss, these are different teams right now, Chris. And they're both getting a nice, Oklahoma's getting 7.5 against Arkansas. And what is Ole Miss getting against Alabama? Even more than
11.5.
So, I mean, no.
I would agree with you. You were talking about Oklahoma before I came on, and Porter Moser, and like you're saying, who's on the bubble, who's off the bubble, should Miami of Ohio get in, who should get in? And the eye test is telling you right now, Oklahoma is not the same team that they were at the beginning of the year. They're probably one of the hotter teams in the country, and the way they played in this tournament so far, look out. 7 points, it's tough against explosive Arkansas team. But Oklahoma, what have they won? They've won 6 in a row, wins over Auburn, LSU, Missouri, Texas, South Carolina, Texas A&M. And, most of those games haven't even been close. And especially last night. I don't understand what Texas A&M, that was a game I pegged for the over, figuring both teams kind of needed it. Going to be some fouling at the end. The problem was Texas A&M couldn't throw it in the ocean. They couldn't hit a 3-point shot. They couldn't hit a 2-point shot. They were careless with the ball. Total domination by Oklahoma. It was an impressive victory.
Iowa State is the team I got in the Big 12. They got a shot, catch it 3.5 against Arizona, 6 p.m. tip, local time for us.
I know. Isn't that the grade 4 matchup? They switch the floor out. They get rid of that ridiculous floor. It's giving guys migraines, and people are getting sick, and they can't play, and the lights. It's like, what a ridiculous thing to do. I mean, I'd see maybe test it out in like a preseason tournament, but in the postseason tournament, that's just very strange. I would definitely give it a shot.
That's a big problem.
Yeah,
slipping in migraines because
yeah.
You don't think the Sphere should do the floors for the March Madness, huh? You don't think so? I mean, that's what it looked like. I mean, they were showing like in-game highlights and one of the commercials. I said, "This looks cool." I don't know about playing on it, but I mean, it looks cool to me. I mean, I don't know, man. Just too much.
I don't know. I thought the first half by Arizona yesterday. I was like, "Whoa, look out! Arizona's obviously they're good, but that was like the best they've looked out. That was the best they looked from the beginning of the season when they were completely healthy." So, but you've also seen that. I've also seen Arizona go into some sort of scoring drought. They don't shoot the 3 a lot. So I don't know. 3.5 seems kind of light. It kind of looks a little fishy. Maybe Iowa State does have a chance for the upset. And then you got Kansas, Houston, another great. The 4 best teams in that conference all going against each other. I would probably lean to both the dogs. The dogs in this tournament and all these tournaments seem to be the right way to play. Why lay points when you don't need to lay points? You can take points, and a lot of times these underdogs are winning outright.
All right, we may check in with you earlier next week to get some picks before we get started in the March Madness. Good luck to you, buddy, man. We'll hopefully the hooks fall on your side this weekend.
Well,
appreciate it, man.
Hopefully one of us win a conference tournament pre-flop bet. That'd be nice. I'd like to cash in at 25-1 on Miami.
Of the Big 4, how many win their conference tournaments, real quick? 2? 3? 4?
I think Florida's going to win the conference tournament, and the way Arizona played last night, even though I kind of think I think that might be a 2-point game today. I kind of feel like Arizona's on a little bit of a mission right now. So I'll go Arizona or Florida, and I'll say Duke doesn't win it. And who's the other Big 4? Oh, Michigan. No, I don't think Michigan will win it either. So let's go with Florida and Arizona to win, Michigan and Duke not to win.
All right, Chris. Good luck to you, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Have a great weekend, guys.
All right. Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds and Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Our great team at Legacy Title. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody choose but you. Choose Chad Reynolds and Legacy Title. 296-0060.
Live at Rufino's. Live at lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jimmy, Charlie, and Troy. Three best buddies sitting around talking sports bets. Let's welcome in Troy Macker from Bet Rivers.
Troy, I know you've been busy in Kansas City helping out, changing out playing surfaces. You caught up on your rest? The little ones miss you, huh? I mean, what were you thinking trying to put a sphere-like playing surface in the Big 12 championship?
I mean, that's one of the dumbest things that's happened in college basketball. And that is considering they thought it was a good idea to schedule multiple games on boats. This is like they played aircraft carrier games and everyone rolled their ankles because of all the precipitation. The greed of college administrators knows no bounds. It honestly didn't even look cool either. Like if there was going to be fire or waves crashing on the court, that'd be cool. But it just looked like a gray blacktop. I don't even like the color gray as a basketball court color. So I thought it was very stupid. And I'm glad that the Big 12 is having some edge on their face for this.
135, 136 D1 teams in college football. Who has the most irritating playing surface? That would be clearly Eastern Michigan. Charlie, fair?
That gray asphalt-looking stuff up
So
there.
they went with that. Although, Troy, that during the commercial breaks, they were showing in-game highlights. It was impressive. I don't advise playing a basketball tournament on it, but it was like a mini sphere. I mean, the bouncer was going through the air. It was cool looking, but yeah, I'd probably have a migraine if I'm playing on that. I'm going to time out and that's going on, and it just we can't be slipping and sliding. They didn't play on this first to try it out.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
So. Anyway, what I'm more interested in is where the action is for these conference tournaments for the teams that are predetermined. And I think we're all on the same page here. Win, lose, or draw, Duke's the number 1 overall seed. Win, lose, or draw, Michigan is the number 2 overall seed so far for Arizona and for Florida. I'm just think that these teams are subject to be disinterested in this conference tournament, and there might be a chance for a score. But I'm curious. The general public usually goes on the chalk. These teams still driving up the prices in these conference tournaments?
Well, in the case of, let's start with Duke, because it's a little surprising. They're certainly backed by, significant money to win outright against Clemson, and tickets as well. It's, low 90s for money line. But on the spread, 77% of the money is on Clemson to cover, and 72% of the tickets are on Clemson to cover as well. And, I saw a stat where underdogs in the ACC semifinals since 2007, so this is ACC semifinal underdogs, are 25-7-3 against the spread. That's 78%. And they're 12-2-1 against the spread since 2017. The other game is Miami-Virginia, which I think should be a great game. Miami is the 3 seed, and they're backed by 77% of the tickets to cover the spread. So both dogs in the ACC semifinals, which is the chalk semifinal, are backed by the tickets to cover, which I find a little surprising considering Virginia has been under the radar great this year. And I don't know why or how you can have a ton of conviction in fading Duke. Yes, they played very close to Florida State. They are undermanned. That's probably the reason. But I just think so highly of this team, even given the fact that they're not super deep. And frankly, I think Clemson is all over the map. I tweeted at one point this year, they're the most, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed team in the country, because they should be so much better than they are. They let games slip away. They don't take care of business. They're a very good team. They're not great or elite, but I probably wouldn't back Clemson to cover here because I think they're significantly weaker than Duke, even with an undermanned Duke team.
Well, they lost a starter for the season as well in a game a couple of days ago as well. So, yeah, well, welcome to Clemson. Life of most Clemson minus a couple of football years where Clemsoning used to be a verb that we used a lot. But, yeah, that's It's something that my Clemson friends are well aware of, are very familiar with. Is there anything that you look like, maybe any conference tournament that you say, no, you got a team that can beat the Big Four in these conference tournaments, or something in the individual games that you like? How about your Georgetown Hoyas showing a low life? Shoot, Troy. I mean, I should have known that, thrown that at you right out the chute, huh?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite days of the year, so I don't want to waste too much time talking about my favorite team, which is still under 500. Granted, you get UConn Georgetown at Madison Square Garden. It's super fun. And the Hoyas, the last time they made a semifinal in the Big East tournament, they made the NCAA tournament. There's still some big teams out there at the power conference level, Georgetown being one of them. I thought Florida State against Duke last night had a really good chance. Oklahoma has been playing very well. The SEC tournament is just so loaded. Like, it's to win that tournament is really, really hard, but they've been playing really well. I think Oklahoma probably should be in, just given how well they played down the stretch. It's not so much a team necessarily outside the top four, but I think, in the A-10, there's right for us upsets. George Washington is currently beating St. Louis. I think Dayton is playing very well right now. They're playing St. Bonaventure, and they've decided to let go of their coach at the end of the year. We've seen that before, where a coach who's basically been fired but allowed to coach out the season take a team to the NCAA tournament. And Mark Schmidt is a very good coach who's taken teams to the tournament before. So, I wouldn't be surprised at all if St. Bonaventure, the 13th seed, is playing in the final. So that's a tournament that I think always yields some weird results. So that's one where I would highlight it. And again, in the SEC, there's so many teams that you have 8, 9 seeds that could win it. I'll say one thing about the Big Ten, and it's not really coming to fruition thus far, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State or Wisconsin played in the final. And why that's a little shocking is because they have to play Michigan and Illinois. So those two teams are going to have to lose a game. And that doesn't seem all that likely. But Ohio State's been playing very well, and so is Wisconsin. And Wisconsin has some very good wins against the likes of Michigan and Illinois. So, things tend to happen when you get a team for a third time. And, I do think there is a lot of merit to teams that are peaking at the right time in these tournaments when some teams, don't need it as much.
I think there's a simulation, but I have it on my mind. But for instance, Paul Stone liked the angle. So Miami this past Saturday lost at home. Team they just beat yesterday. I'm drawing a blank, and he went back right back on them, and picked them to win, and they did win and controlled most of the game. I think a similar situation with Tennessee and Vanderbilt.
Louisville.
What's that?
Louisville.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Louisville.
And both teams won on their each other's home court. It's odd that it happens in college basketball. That's a rarity. But Vandy winning at Tennessee, I like Tennessee. I kind of like that. I like the psychological effect that, this team just beat us. They have a little bit more in their tank, a little bit more exhale than maybe the team that just won in a more recent matchup. I wanted to ask you too, Troy, though. It's the Big East is not the same. It kind of looks like, until they change some things in college athletics, that might be more of the norm for the near future. But damn, being in Madison, and I've never been to Madison Square Garden. Only Max is the privilege of doing that. He's, he tries to share that. But anyway, man, that seems like have you ever been to the Big East tournament in the Madison Square Garden? That seems fun.
Yeah,
man.
I've been as a fan 3 times, and I've covered 5 of the events, including Kemba Walker's tournament. I've been very fortunate enough to be there for many a Big East tournament. And obviously, growing up in Washington, D.C., being a big Georgetown fan, the Big East tournament is very special to my family, and it's always been cool. And then you go when you cover it, or you go as a fan, and it is super cool. It's a great touristy thing to do as well, because you just get the vibe. Like, it's awesome to walk in there at noon on a Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
The whole place is buzzing. And, when UConn plays, it's a home game. When St. John's plays, it's a home game. When Seton Hall or even Rutgers plays, there's a year where Rutgers was pretty okay, and they played, and it was loud. Georgetown does well because of all the alums in New York City. So, still, the league could struggle and, only get 3 teams in the next few years. It's still number one in conference tournaments. But I will alarm you that there is a slight possibility that we get a 5-bid Big East conference in March Madness. And what has to happen is essentially Seton Hall has to beat St. John's, Georgetown has to beat UConn, and then if Georgetown beats Seton Hall in the finals in, let's say, overtime, Seton Hall could sneak in as an at-large bid. Georgetown gets the AQ, and then you have UConn, St. John's, and Villanova getting at-larges as well. So the dream is still alive, even though the likelihood that happens is very, very small.
You're sleeping well. You're dreaming. You're sleeping well. I'll trade that. Anything else that we missed, Troy, before we let you go?
No, one game I think a lot of people are going to sleep on or be asleep for, but it's the very last game of the night. It's New Mexico, San Diego State. This is going to be the last time they play as conference opponents because, San Diego State's going to the new Pac-12 next year. A very good rivalry. New Mexico needs another win to help get in, and the two teams are so evenly matched. And the Mountain West Conference, their tournament is very, very good. I'd probably put it in my top 5 favorite conference tournaments. It's basically a midnight East Coast tip, but that is a game. If I make it through this full day of just loaded games, that is a game I'm very much looking forward to. Might not be high on the points, but it should be a very good game between two teams that probably should be in the field, but still have work to do.
Follow Troy on Twitter at Troy Macker. That's MACHIR. Troy, enjoy the weekend. I know you will. We'll talk to you on Monday. Thank you, buddy.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Don't forget our friend, you staying in town for the LSU baseball weekend, St. Patrick's Day festivities, staying downtown, looking for a quick bite to eat. Go and check out our friends at Town Square Pizza. Man, you go in there, you can take the specialty pizzas or create your own, all fresh ingredients right in front of your eyes. You got a little bit of this, a little bit more of that, a little bit of this. They put it in the oven, man, about 7-8 minutes later, it is piping hot, fresh, generous portions. I mean, fresh dough. It is really, really good. It's reasonable, and you will not leave there hungry. So, grab one to go. You're staying downtown within a 5-minute walk of all the major hotels. It's downtown Town Square Pizza, downtown on North Street, facing Town Square.
Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Otten Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And they go to halftime at the Big Ten tournament. Michigan, just a 4-point lead on Ohio State, 39-35. Second game of that tournament is Wisconsin and Illinois. I don't know how much faith you got in Wisconsin to go through and win this thing, Jimmy, but a reasonable path would be Illinois today, Michigan tomorrow, and Purdue or Michigan State.
Puncher's chance, but not much.
They've beaten all those teams.
I know.
And
some away from home.
Three of them on the road. They've beaten Michigan, Illinois, and Purdue all on the road.
Yes, yeah.
So they've done it. I don't think they can reel off those three in 3 days. But
it's a lot to ask for a team that's so perimeter dependent. Yes, Wisconsin is very perimeter dependent. Now, this is not our big brothers Wisconsin team, and that's hard to maintain that type of shooting because they're not nearly as good as they've been traditionally defensively.
Seb Straka, Xander Schauffele, and Corey Connors all at 8 under par. They are your leaders at the Players at Sawgrass right now over in Florida. Hour number 2 coming straight ahead. Bruce Marshall with us, and we'll have some more picks for the tournament game.
He's out there somewhere in the world. Maybe even your local sports book.
Can anybody help us?
Let's bring in Bruce Marshall.
Brucey, how you doing, buddy, in the middle of this conference tournament week?
Yeah, everything's head's kind of spinning this week like usual, but it's pretty good fun, and Las Vegas, good place to be this week.
How many tournaments or games have you been to this week? What do you usually hit, about 2 or 3 different tournaments?
I I used to do that, and now they're all on TV, so I've been at home.
Right.
And I didn't go out to the Mountain West, but I'm going to go out to the Big West tonight. I can walk there from my house, and I think Matt Humans will be out there tonight, too, so I might be there for that late Hawaii game at Fullerton tonight.
But, yeah, I mean, everything's on TV, so that's a good way to watch them, too.
There you go. How many getting in from the Mountain West?
How many fans? It depends. Hawaii, surprisingly, has a pretty good contingent of fans in Las Vegas. So they usually, they'll bring their band, the cheerleaders and all come, and they have some fans there. So tonight, that might not be a bad crowd in the schools from the L.A. area. Usually bring some people. So, and Irvine's playing at Northridge in the other game tonight. So I expect there might be 3,000-4,000 there tonight at the in Henderson. But it's a nice little arena, the minor league hockey arena for the Golden Knights. So that'll be a good rocking atmosphere, I think.
I was asking how many teams you think are getting into the NCAA tournament from the Mountain West Conference.
Oh, how many teams? Okay, I think you said fans. Oh, there's only going to be one from the Mountain West. It's one. What's a one from the? Oh, I'm sorry, from the Big West. Mountain West, probably two.
Okay.
That's Utah State is solidly in there. It's sort of a bubble eliminator with San Diego State and New Mexico. I'm not sure either of them get in. I actually think if one of these teams can beat Utah State in the tournament, and that would include Nevada tonight. All of a sudden, Nevada is playing better. And that was a really impressive effort against a good Grand Canyon yesterday. I think the Wolfpack has a shot tonight. I'm going to say two from the Mountain West, no more than that this year. And it could just be if Utah State loses in the tonight or tomorrow, it'll be the team that beats them and wins the tournament that gets the other bid.
Lenardi's got New Mexico as the fourth team out. San Diego State is the fifth team out. So they're within striking distance, but work to do.
All right, Bruce. What are you looking at on the schedule today? What do you like?
Some of these earlier games, I will tell you that the best storyline that is developing in March here is in the Atlantic 10. And by the way, right now, George Washington is beating St. Louis, which is a little move on them in the second half here, but St. Louis has struggled. They are not a sure thing in the A10 tournament at all. Watch St. Bonaventure here. Now, this is not a deep team, but they have won 2 in a row here for their retiring head coach, Mark Schmidt. They're an underdog against Dayton today. What I would caution with St. Bonaventure is even what belies their record. They're much better than their record showed. They lost a number of close games this year. In the Atlantic 10, they are actually 17-16 overall now. At one point, they were 10-1. And you talk to people who have watched the Bonnies this year, and they think, this team, just with a few breaks in some of these close games they lost, they could be a 21 or 22 win team right now. Not that much of a stretch of the imagination. They played Dayton within 2. That was one of those games they lost close during the regular season. A foul in the last 2 seconds of the game gave Dayton the free throws to win. They've got a pretty good balanced lineup with Mitchell, the big bruising power forward from Minnesota, some guards, Simmons, the transfer from Gardner-Webb, one of the best three-point shooters in the country. Now, they get Dayton, they're getting some points today. I think they got a shot in this tournament, and what a storyline that would be if St. Bonaventure can do this for Mark Schmidt. They came in the 13th seed in that league, and here they are moving into the quarterfinals with 2 wins in 2 days, and they came back on George Mason yesterday. St. Bonaventure is a story I'm keeping an eye on.
Bonnies.
Yeah. Let me give you a quick update on that St. Louis game. They were down 21 in the first half. They've closed it to 4, and there's 13 and a half minutes to go still in that game.
It's one of the things I like to do, especially in these conference tournaments, because these teams just don't quit, and sometimes they come disinterested because their seeding is set and where they're playing for so much. So you can either come in disinterested, and those teams that are not advancing unless they win the conference tournament, they just don't quit. You have these drastic comebacks. Do you feel the same way, Bruce? It's a little bit more extreme. Okay.
Yeah. I think you're right, Jimmy. I think you do. It's desperate. It's urgency with a lot of these teams with no tomorrow, and this is their last chance in. And yeah, we've seen this every year. The teams that have the bid sewn up generally. Sometimes. They just sort of go on cruise control there. And listen, there are coaches who, if they know they're going into the dance, they don't mind losing. I remember Lute Olson used to not put a lot of emphasis on the Pac-12, and for many years the Pac-12, the Pac-10 in those days didn't even have a tournament. And when they did, Olsen wasn't didn't mind that Arizona lost beforehand in the tournament because, you're playing 3-4 games back-to-back in the week before the big dance. That can wear a team out. So that's the other factor. A lot of these teams that are securely in there, I don't think a lot of their coaches mind too much losing in the conference tournament.
All right, Bruce, on the schedule, what are we looking at today?
Yeah, this is really good. Now, coming up earlier here, I mentioned that St. Bonaventure game that's coming up in a little bit. I would watch in the Big Ten Wisconsin yesterday. Now, this is one of those spots, that was sort of a trap game against Washington, though I thought Wisconsin would cover that game, but they didn't. But you get Illinois here today. Now, Illinois makes its debut in the Big Ten tournament as the top 4 seeds do today in that event in Chicago. But Wisconsin, to me, very dangerous sort of team. I could see them putting a run here together. It's just in their character to do that. They did beat Illinois during the regular season in overtime in Champaign-Urbana. 2 really good guards in Boyd and Blackwell. Their Big Kid winner is out for the tournament here, it looks like. But you're getting 9 points at Wisconsin. I think they're an extremely live dog in that game. I'd also watch in the Big East coming up here, and this is in the mid-afternoon, the Game 1 semifinal, the Seton Hall-St. John's game. Seton Hall is not going to go down easily in this game. They played Patino very tough in both games last year, including last Friday at the Rock in Newark, right down to the last minute. The first game, they had St. John's down double digits at halftime, and St. John's barely got back at Madison Square Garden. Seton Hall's one of those teams that they're just barely getting a mention in the ESPN bubble watch here, so they're going to probably have to win tonight and then tomorrow against probably UConn. But you're getting 8.5 with Seton Hall, and that defense. This is 11th nationally scoring defense, 65 points per game, and they only give up about 40% field goals. I might think Seton Hall's worth a look there. How about this one in the Big Ten? We talked about these teams that have had a bye into today. Nebraska's another one. Now they're playing Purdue. They're getting a few points here. 3.5 is the last thing I'm seeing. How about this stat? Matt Painter. Now, if you count that as a loss yesterday versus the spread for Purdue, and a lot of people lost that because that number moved to 13.5, and that was a big backdoor cover for Northwestern yesterday. But that would make Matt Painter 1-17 against the spread his last 18 Big Ten tournament games. That is some sort of a negative mark, and that includes 3 years ago when Purdue won this tournament and didn't cover a game. A lot of close games in there for them. And Nebraska, they played a overtime game about a month ago that the Purdue won in overtime. But Nebraska generally has been more consistent this year than Purdue. Purdue did get 19 from the big kid Oscar Clough yesterday. That was his best game in like 2 months, but he's generally been a pretty big disappointment for them. And Lawyer and Smith, those long-serving guards, only 10 for 35 combined from the floor in the first game against Nebraska. I'm going to stick with that anti-Painter trend there and give Nebraska a shot in that one. Obscure one, sort of off the radar tonight in the MEAC. Howard, the Bison. If you look at the standings there, you see they only won. They were 1 game ahead in the MEAC standings, but that's a little misleading. They lost their first 2 league games, and then they went on a run of terror. Their average win margin in league is almost 24 points per game. They so outclassed everybody in this league. Their backcourt, those 2 guys are good enough to be playing in the A10 or even the ACC. They're men against boys in this league. South Carolina State is one of those teams that upset them right at the start of the league, played, and they blew out South Carolina State the second game. So I think I would lay the points, about 15 or so, with Howard in that one tonight. And how about the nightcap in the SEC? What is going on with Porter Moser, who has saved his job? Now, he might look at one of these other job openings out there to start the clock over, so I'm not sure. But they are certainly hot right now, 8 of 10. They are moving up in the bubble watch here. If they can get Arkansas tonight, they keep this run going here. It's their 3rd game in 3 days, and now Arkansas is one of these teams just starting its work in Nashville tonight. But everything is clicking for Oklahoma. Every game looks better than the game before. Nigel Pack, who's had about 3 different college careers at K-State, Miami, and now Oklahoma, he is really hot. He's got
Yes.
five of the last 6 games scoring 20 or more, and the other transfer guard from St. Joe's, Xavier Brown, really good. They are clicking right now, and they played Arkansas very tough at a point in the season when Oklahoma was losing those games. They are winning them now. I'm going to ride this Sooner train, Jimmy and Charlie,
Okay.
and let's see how far it goes. I think they got a shot to go all the way to the final against Florida. I wouldn't pick anybody to beat Florida right now, but if Oklahoma can push this thing to Sunday, all of a sudden they might be able to nudge into the field. We'll see.
It was 2 weeks ago tomorrow that Oklahoma left the Assembly Center here in Baton Rouge with a 16-point win against LSU. They were 15-14 and 5-11 in the league at that point. You would have said they're gonna fire him. I mean, that's what I felt at that point. And he's gone in 2 weeks from likely to be fired to potentially in the tournament.
Well, you went 6 in a row.
And that was the second of the 6 in a row. So
You went 6 in a row, all by double digits minus the overtime win in Austin. I mean, so they're not just win. And Bruce, like you said, it's with all of the moving pieces and turnover in rosters. You never know when that continuity, that chemistry is going to come in. That's why. And I know you know this, Bruce, but the Navy thing was that's just a bummer, man. I mean, 5 senior starters. This was their year. I mean, not only did they win the games, but they were crushing the competition in the Patriot League. I mean, can you maybe question not making sure when it's a tie game, you got the last possession with the clock on, your priority usually is you do not give your opponent a possession. And had to take a layup. He had to take a layup, which he did. He kind of went coast to coast, but it left too much time on the clock for Boston to pull the 3 and beat them at the buzzer. I mean, that's because you know this, Bruce. Just 5-10 years ago, we don't know what mid-major it was, but based on when their cards were right with these teams, this crew of 4 or 5 players have been together for 3 or 4 years. The age, the experience, the chemistry would really give people problems. Is this thing? There's so many things wrong with college athletics. I get it, or it's just changing. We're still we got that. We need somebody, a committee. We can get into that. We can go on and on and on forever. But when I watch the college football games, I said, man, you wouldn't know. I mean, the product, man, the level of play, the product, basketball. A lot of these guys will be in a G League, man, and are starring. Man, look at the freshman class this year, college basketball. But the tournament is the one thing that's going to be maybe all of the things surrounding the new climate in college athletics. It did last year. 13 to 16 seeds win. I mean, the non-conference, the high majors in non-conference play, they went from 85% to 92%. The margin of victories went from 15 points to 22 points a game. I'm just wondering that, Cinderella, man, it's always been hard, but it's almost impossible, man. You really got to slip through the cracks and get a kid like the Miami, Ohio, their all-conference player who returned for another year. The climate has not affected the project on the field, but in a tournament, which has made the tournament Cinderella, I think it has.
Yeah, I think you're right. And a lot of the low majors, they're really up against it. And really, there's a handful of mid majors that are capable of getting a win at least in the first round, I think. But those low majors, like you said, they are really up against it. And you make a good point there. The teams like Navy, and it helped that they're a service academy, although, the Air Force couldn't hold on to their kids. They all went in the mill. But to get that sort of continuity, especially from a mid-major or low-major side, usually if one good year for a side like that, if anybody's got any eligibility left now, they're usually transferring out. Navy was sort of the exception. And the other thing you mentioned, though, this is the other one, and this relates to Oklahoma, and you did touch upon this, that it's sometimes turnover like that. I mean, when they start playing in November, it takes a while for this stuff to mesh sometimes, and I think this is a pretty good example at Oklahoma. I mean, they threw all these new pieces together, in fall practice there, and see how it goes. And it just took them a while to coagulate. They finally have. This is what Oklahoma thought this team was going to look like. It just didn't happen until mid-February. So that's why, things change as the season moves on. Oklahoma's a good example.
Bruce, we know that Wisconsin's football offensive transformation did not go over well. What about their basketball style transformation? Who would have thought, Charlie, that Wisconsin would be in a top 10 in the country, top 10% in the country in points scored at 83.3 a game? Yep. Who thought that they would be in the top 15% in three-point percentage? Bruce, has this been a good thing for Wisconsin basketball?
Yeah, it's kept them competitive because the Big Ten has been very competitive, and I think it was going to be harder. Coach Greg Gard was doing a lot of the same things that Bo Ryan did, and even Dick Bennett before that, his first few years. But it was a little bit startling. He sort of made that adjustment. It's like, okay, we got to start playing, faster right now, because it was just going to be harder and harder, I think, to keep playing that style that they did. And like you said, they're last year they turned this around last year some, and this year there you go. You've got Boyd. The transfers they get guys who can come in there and score, like Boyd. They've had Blackwell for a while, so it's a very good potent backcourt combo. So yeah, they are different. Even this year, some of these Ivy League schools that used to play slower. Princeton didn't have a great year this year, but in recent years, even their pace has gone faster, and even Grant McCaslin down at the Texas Tech. He ran a much slower pace at North Texas, but he gets in the Big 12. It's just tougher to work, and they run a lot more now than he used to. And I think Ross Hodge, who was his disciple at North Texas, and then went on to West Virginia this year, he's going to have to figure that out too, because West Virginia plays at one of the slowest paces in the country. And, they got knocked out pretty handily by BYU the other day. Hodge may have to adjust moving downstream, too.
Those big four wins for Wisconsin at Michigan, at Illinois, at Purdue, and home against Michigan State, they scored at least 91 points in all four of those games. So,
minimum of 91.
91.
Oh, so, and that's Bruce brings up a great point as far as we see stylistic changes from coach to coach, but rarely does the same coach mid-tenure make a stylistic change at that extreme. Bruce, this is, it's like Nia Matalolo, at San Jose State, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to sort of adjust with where you're at and what the times are. And, you saw that there with Nia Matalolo in the football. It didn't work out so well for him last year, but, he certainly did that the year before. But Greg Gard's a great example of that, and I think McCaslin some, too.
All right.
They've had to make
Brucey, I know you do your own
pretty well.
I know you do your own bracketology. Yes or no, real quick, a few of them. Miami O, in or out?
In, but maybe in the play-in game in Dayton.
Oh, Max has already put that game together. He's got Auburn and Miami, Ohio scheduled, first four. So anyway, the first Wednesday night at 8:30. What about Auburn?
No. Too many losses.
Okay.
I think they're out.
Oklahoma.
Got to win the next two nights. If they get to Sunday,
next two nights.
I think they got to get to Sunday. Listen, the example of that. Remember Buzz Williams, Texas A&M a few years ago. He pushed it all the way. I thought they got a shot. They got hot right at the end. They lost the finale to Tennessee, and they ended up in the NIT instead. I think Oklahoma's got it. One, probably two more wins. They get to Sunday, whatever happens, probably against Florida. I think then they're in.
Follow Bruce. He's back on the goal sheet where he all started this thing. Give him a follow. Bruce, thank you, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, boys.
Don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance. Boy, what about the weather, huh? You're not really thinking about that AC maintenance right now, but now's the time to get that thing cleaned, get it just checked to make sure everything's in place before we really grind. It's going to lower your monthly bills. It's going to avoid some more costly repairs down the streets. And look, if you just mow your lawn near the unit, it's dirty. It needs to be cleaned. So call our technicians at 480-1000, 480-1000. Get on our plans as well, our membership programs. This is very smart to do so. Covers all services with discounts and extended warranties. And we know when it's time for your unit to be serviced. You got a lot of things on your plate. You don't keep track. Oh, when's the last time my unit has been cleaned? Now is the time before we really lean on these things for a long stretch. Going to save you money on your monthly bills, avoid more costly repairs. 480-1000 total maintenance.
At the first media timeout in the second half, Ohio State, Michigan now tied at 44. Florida's doubled up Kentucky through the first 7 minutes, 16-8. And St. Louis has come from 21 down to now lead George Washington 70-67, and there's still 7.5 minutes to go in that game. Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Otten Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net, Handycast on YouTube, brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. Celebrating their 90th year in business here in 2026 and supporting our Louisiana farmers. Go to SupremeRice.com. LSU opens Southeastern Conference play in Nashville tonight against Vanderbilt, first of a 3-game set, 6 o'clock tonight, 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. If you're going to watch or listen to the game tonight, you're going to see and hear a Vanderbilt team that has some very un-Vanderbilt-like numbers. First of all, they're coming in at 11-7. That's the most losses anybody in the Southeastern Conference. Now, they did go and they played some named teams. They opened the season at Arlington at the tournament at Globe Life Field. They lost 2 out of 3 there, but they played 3 Big 12 schools, TCU, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma State. TCU is ranked as we speak. Then they went to the Las Vegas Classic and played UC Irvine, Arizona, and Oregon. They lost all 3 of those games. So the 2 multi-team tournaments they went to, they lost 5 out of 6 in those games. But they've also lost games to Central Arkansas and North Dakota State. So they've been scuffling a little bit here in the early going. The second thing you're going to notice about Vanderbilt that is unusual for them is they hit a lot more home runs than what they have in the past couple years. Last year, Vanderbilt hit 66 home runs for the season. This year, they have already hit 44, and we haven't gotten into conference play yet. Braden Holcomb leads the way with 10, but they've got a handful of guys who have 5 or more. So Vanderbilt hitting for more power than what they have in the most recent years. The third thing you're going to notice about Vanderbilt that's unusual for them at this point is they do not have a monster up at the top of the rotation. And we're used to seeing Vanderbilt have the Jack Leiters, the David Prices, the Walker Buellers, the Kumar Rockers, just this monster first-round pick that's up at the top of the rotation. They do not have that this year. Connor Fennell is a good pitcher. He has been a good pitcher, but he tops out at about 90 miles an hour. And most of his work is in the 87, 88 range. He gets a lot of strikeouts because he's got a terrific off-speed pitch. And he's one of those guys that it looks like he would be very easy to hit, and he's just not. There's a lot of things with release point and extension and things like that would bore you if you're not a very big pitching person. But just when I tell you, he pitches a lot better than the velocity would indicate. But he doesn't look like one of those Vanderbilt monsters that we're used to seeing. So that's the third thing you'll see that's not usual about them. And something that has happened throughout the conference or the pre-conference season for both of these teams, which is unusual, is the high number of walks. Vanderbilt is up near the top. They've walked the second most hitters in the Southeastern Conference, but LSU has also walked too many. They have issued the 5th most walks in the SEC. So both of these teams' pitching staffs have walked a lot more guys. Usually you think of Vanderbilt, you think of elite pitching. It has not been that way, at least so far this year. And LSU needs a little bit of help there, too. Some more bullpen arms that that you just would think would emerge. Now, Jay Johnson did use 19 pitchers in the pre-conference. When you get down into the games that you're really focusing on, the conference games, you're going to probably pare that number down to about 8 and maybe a couple more when some of these conference games get out of hand. So you're going to pare that down a little bit. But it's been a bunch of walks, and they got to cut that number down. The other thing is LSU's got to play better defense than what they've been playing. And I'm hoping to see Stanfield in left field. I don't know if we're going to see him start. But if Stanfield plays left and Caraway plays third, and I'd like to see some more of Ruckert at second base. I'd like to see him some more of the Catholic High product there because I think he's their best glove. And if nobody's really going to tear the cover off the ball, give me a glove in there. So if we see Ruckert in one game, maybe even 2 games this weekend as a starter, that would not bother me. Would not bother me at all. So 3-game set with Vandy to open conference play. Man, LSU has scuffled. Okay, there's no question, but they're not the only ones. Vanderbilt's lost 7, Arkansas's lost 5, Tennessee's lost 4. Florida was a run away from getting swept with at home against High Point. So you've seen some conferences. Now Texas looks great, Mississippi State looks great, A&M's off to a good start, but some of the big power teams in this conference off to a little bit of a slow start.
Okay, but the difference between LSU and Vanderbilt being off to slow starts, one was expected, one was not. I mean, Vanderbilt, the word around there was like, okay, they're not quite as strong as this year.
Yeah,
LSU is loaded. They just reload.
Yep.
Johnson, the money, the budget, the whole thing, the work ethic. I mean, he just reloading. But the championship hangover, and like I said, going to the box on, was it Tuesday or Wednesday against Creighton, I could not believe how sloppy they were in the field. Vanderbilt, several times, Charlie, in your breakdown right there, you said, well, this is not typical Vanderbilt. This is not typical. Well, the rules have changed. And we all know because the private school, they could sort of, if their administration wanted to be aggressive with their baseball program, and because they could barely compete in basketball and never compete in football prior, that this was their sport. This is their sport where they got a national championship. This is a sport where they could compete at the highest level, actually have advantages over other teams in a hotbed conference like the SEC. Rules have changed, and that has reduced their advantages. That was agreed upon by their administration.
4 national championships between these 2 coaches, and 3 other trips to the finals for Tim Corbin and Jay Johnson. So you got some heavyweights in the dugout.
Corbin's got 2.
Corbin's got 2 and 2 other trips to the finals where they lost.
State beat them that one, and who was with the other?
Virginia.
Lost to Virginia. They beat Michigan and beat.
Now you're testing my memory. Who did we beat in the other one?
Well, Charlie, this is what you do.
I know. I know who LSU beat for Johnson's. I know who he beat. We're brought to you by the Pierre Parts Store, the Thibodeau Store. Let me tell you, we were talking with them yesterday. Jimmy, I know you are a stickler for this. When you eat crawfish, when you do crawfish, you like
clean. They come from the dirt, clean. The first thing I do is pull back a tail and say, okay, what am I eating here? How clean are they? That son of a gun better be clear. Clean. Garrett's got some washers?
Garrett's got the crawfish washers, the blue ones, the purple ones, and the red ones. If you're a crawfish washer, you know what that means, okay? So get your crawfish washers. They are all in stock right now. Thibodeau Store, the Pierre Part Store, and now open in LaRose and Lockport. LaRose and Lockport. Not Laplace. I think I said Laplace yesterday. LaRose and Lockport, as well as Pierreport and Thibodaux. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, in Pierreport on Highway 70, in Lockport on Highway 308, and in LaRose on Main Street. All of your cleaning supplies and your gardening supplies here for the spring season. Got the discounts from DeWalt and Greenworks, Roundup, from Milwaukee Tools, from Channel Lock Tools. All of these available at the website, thethibodeaustore.com. You get to all 4 of the properties from that one website. Same-day pickup on everything on the website and delivery available on a lot of these items. Again, online it's thethibodeaustore.com. Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At lunch with Odd and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, let's bring in Ace Simonera again, a veteran handicapper in the New York area. Ace, before we get to your 3 complimentary picks today, what you take away from the conference tournaments? Because there is a little bit of it's a little bit of finesse involved. Some teams, have their seating predetermined and could be a little bit disinterested. Some not. We talk about the bubble teams. Usually those bubble lines are a little bit, the line is baked in. So, sometimes must-win teams must not be that good. Just your overall approach as we're right in the middle of this conference tournament week.
No doubt, Jimmy. Great to be on with you and all your listeners. A great time of the year. I mean, today, March 13th, Friday the 13th. Good luck in Italian heritage. So, great day to be here and watching all of these games. Some fantastic games going on right now. Just look at this conference right now in the A10 GW making a huge comeback. They were up 24. St. Louis made a big comeback. Was up 9 with about 3 minutes. GW now takes the lead. Now here comes St. Louis up 3 with just a few minutes left. The only way GW gets in is if they win this game. So, they put everything into this game totally. And St. Louis, as you mentioned, a team that already has a bid locked up, getting some votes in the AP, technically number 29 in the country, had been in the top 25 previously. If they get knocked out of this game, they're still going to get a selection on Sunday. Right? So GW playing for their lives. There's a lot of teams like that don't have something to fall back on. Right? Miami of Ohio losing yesterday to a desperate UMass team. Anybody forget Frank Martin's coaching over there at UMass? Anybody forget what that guy's done in tournament games? Taking South Carolina to a Final Four. Can you even believe what I just said? He took South Carolina to a Final Four.
The women or the men, Ace?
A tremendous coach. And look what a tremendous job he did at Miami as well and K-State before then. He's a tremendous coach. He wins everywhere he goes. Yeah, in the tournament, it's about coaching. Okay, and a lot of these games, obviously, are played on neutral courts, except for a couple of them, one of them that we're going to talk about next. But before we do, Jimmy, I'm offering some free text service to all your listeners. Text the word free picks to 631-805-6165. You'll get my top-rated free picks every single day. That's it, no hassles. You text the word free picks to 631-805-6165. Punch it into your phone, 631-805-6165. 6165, you're on board. You're getting my top daily free picks every day. Yeah, that's what these matchups you mentioned, Jimmy. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's get right to it. In 2 teams for your neck of the woods playing in Madison Square Garden right there. St. John's 7-point favorites over Seton Hall. These conference tournaments, they also celebrate their all-conference teams Coach of the Year. Shaheen Holloway, Big East Coach of the Year. Seton Hall with a nice win yesterday. St. John's laying 7 here.
Absolutely. I was going to give them kudos as well. What a tremendous job by Shaheen Holloway. Nobody expected them to do anything. Early on in the season, the record that they've put up and still for them to be on the bubble. Now, they're going to have to win this game to be considered because right now they are on the outside of that bubble. The only thing is that they're running up against a team right now. Pitino's got them primed. Peaking at the right time. Their defense has been tremendous. Now, this is going to be the 3rd match. They played late January in the Garden. Seton Hall blew a 15-point lead. That was one of the first games where you could see Pitino really getting into his team and enforcing them to just get it down low. Ejiofor, Hopkins, Mitchell, they took over, came back. They played just a week ago, exactly a week ago on the 6th. Fought out a tough-fought victory in Seton Hall by 7. Now, that line is 7 tonight. I think no matter what happens late in the game at some point, even with Seton Hall putting up a fight, they're all about defense. They're all about tempo. They even played 10 players yesterday to try to get them to be fresh for this game. At the end of the game, it's not going to matter. St. John's is one of those teams that throws a 2 or 3 minute spurt at you, put 10 quick points at you, that spurt ability, and they're going to cover this game. It's a home game. This crowd's going to be revved up. Get on St. John's and lay the 7 in that game.
All right, let's move on to the ACC. Talk about a couple of first-year coaches doing a nice job. How about Ryan Odom, Dave Odom's kid at Charlottesville, Virginia? What a job he's done, 2nd place in the ACC this year. And John Lucas's son, Jay Lucas, in his first year at Miami. Both of these teams are headed to the tournament semifinal round this evening in the ACC tournament. Looking at Virginia, 3.5 to 4.5 is what we're seeing.
Yeah, you stole my thunder with that one. I mean, coaching DNA, are you kidding? You know, Joe Lucas, his dad was one of the great all-time point guards in the history of the ACC at Maryland. And, yeah, Coach Odom, how could he not have just learned something from just sitting next to his dad for all those years at Wake Forest? Just two tremendous coaches, done a hell of a job their first years there. And you know what? They just played recently. Virginia beat them back on February 21st, 86-83, in a game that just went back and forth and back and forth. I like the way Coach Lucas has their team playing right now. You know, Reno had a huge game yesterday. Donaldson put up 25 a couple of games ago. They got Henderson, Washington, Uday down low, 6'11", 270, a beefy guy that just literally people just bounce off of him. They got the look to me, and nothing against Virginia. They got some big guys and been playing fantastic. Really ho-hum game, really sleepily, yawned through that game yesterday against NC State. But I just look at them like right now that they're one of those teams that struggles to score sometimes, and I feel like Miami's going to score the ball easier. Give me the 4.5 points in that game. I expect it to be like a one-possession game, and if you can get 4.5, more than that one possession, give me the Hurricanes plus 4.5 in that ACC matchup.
Virginia last year, 15-17 overall, 8-12, 4 games below 500, and all the way up to second place this year. How about Miami? Dead last in the ACC last year, 3-17 in the league, 7-24 overall. Jay Lucas, who did get Coach of the Year? Was it Lucas for ACC? I missed that. Did you catch it?
I did not catch that,
okay.
But I mean, he would get my vote because they did have the biggest turnaround in wins from one season to the next.
All right, I know the Louisville coach got it last year after their 18-2 run.
They gave it to Shire.
They gave it to Shire.
Yeah.
Okay. That's right. It's like the first time since like 20-something years because Duke's always played with a loaded deck. So they gave it to Shire this year. Interesting. What's that, Race?
They got some talent there at Duke, it seems.
Yeah, a little bit. He's coming off of a year where he had 3 lottery picks. So
that's all?
Yeah, that's it. And the Big 12, all right, they replaced the floor. So, all right, well, no more flooring by the Sphere at the Big 12 tournament. Now we got Iowa State and Arizona. Arizona's one of those Big 4 that their seeding sure seems set. They're going to be a number 1 seed, likely to be the number 3 overall seed. And here comes Iowa State, and, well, we know about their home court advantage. Well, they bring more fans than anybody to this tournament on an annual basis. Iowa State catching 3.5 to 4.5 here against Arizona.
Open Coliseum South. That's what it's going to be. I mean, absolutely. They travel like nobody's business. Not that the Wildcats don't have very loyal fans, but just in proximity, let's call it what it is. This is going to be pretty much a home game for Iowa State. You know, and you know, 2 great coaches there. Both of them preach an incredible defense. I mean, you're not going to get 2 better defensive teams in the country other than maybe, you know, Duke. Number 2 right now in defensive efficiency in Ken Palm, Arizona. Number 4, Iowa State. You know, they played back in March. Arizona won 73-57. You know, got to the free throw line. That's really where the game was won, and Iowa State was 7-30 on threes. Didn't hit any threes. They're playing differently right now. I absolutely love the way the point guard played yesterday. Lipsy, he's absolutely taking it to them, going right to the basket. They were down early in that game. No big deal. They just kept doing what they do, passing it out to Momcilovic, hitting Jefferson for shots, Buchanan as well. They're absolutely on fire right now. Arizona's playing great. I expect this to be a one-possession game. If you're telling me again that Iowa State in a revenge setup, with the way they're playing, the defense that they've played in the last 2 games, 91-42, starting off against Arizona State, just dusted them. It was never a game. And then yesterday, starting off down against Texas Tech, and eventually winning the game by 22. It really wasn't a game at all. They've been playing absolutely fantastic defense. I love the way Lipsy's playing. I expect him to have a huge battle with the point guard on Arizona. And no doubt he's going to take him out of his game. He's not going to be putting up any threes. He didn't put up any threes the last time they played. So give me the 4.5 points in Iowa State.
Text free picks to Ace. I mean, closing out the conference tournament week, but in again next year. Great time to take touch base with him, set something up, a little rapport, so you can be locked and loaded for March Madness next week. Again, text free picks to 631 805-6165. Ace, good luck to you, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
Looking forward to Selection Sunday. Best of luck to you and all your listeners, Jimmy. Talk to you next Tuesday.
Yes, indeed. Don't forget our friends at United Community Bank, the local way to bank big with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people in southern Louisiana for over 50 years. Our great team of bankers, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry, and my man Prentice Wilkes. You know, running a business can be difficult enough without the right relationship with your bank. With United Community Bank's local business bankers, you're not just a number, you are a partner. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
St. Louis survives. Come from down 21, they end up winning it 88-81 over George Washington in the A-10 quarterfinals. Back to wrap it up live at lunch from Rufino's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Ohio State a 1-point lead over Michigan, 5 minutes to go in the Big Ten tournament. Florida with a 7-point lead over Kentucky, 2 minutes to go to the break there. Louisiana Tech trying to steal a bid. They are a 2-point leader in the second half of the Coosa semifinals against Missouri State, 38-36. Xander Schauffele in the clubhouse with a 65 today. He is your leader at 10 under par. Cam Young and Corey Connors both at 9 under, still on the golf course. Sepp Straka a 70 today. He is 7 under par. 3 shots off the lead for the tournament. And what else did I want to tell you?
Favorite picks tonight, again, the SEC, those hot teams that had struggles all year and getting a lot of points, Ole Miss and Oklahoma. Also like Michigan State in the Big Ten. Charlie.
You got a tremendous
Iowa State. I'm on with
tremendous
Ace, Iowa State.
Iowa State, Arizona, followed by Houston and Kansas at the Big 12 tournament. That's pretty good.
New floor. I liked it, but can't be slipping and sliding, man. I mean, just can't be doing it.
No, they had a guy almost got hurt, like seriously, yesterday on a wet spot or a slick spot or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, you can't.
We said that yesterday. I mean, it's beyond the aesthetics after when you're talking about, slippery. One player just claims it. No, we can't do it. How do they do that? Don't forget our Lenten features over here this weekend at Rufino's, the crawfish gnocchi, our specials pizza features, seared halibut, and the crawfish pot pie, in addition to our regular menu. Brunch is really good over here. Eggs Benedict, it's a staple for me every Sunday over here at Rufino's as well.
Enjoy your weekend. On Monday, we're at Walk-Ons in Brewerly from Max and Jimmy. Jordan back in the studio. I'm Charles Handiger saying thank you, and good afternoon. Have a great weekend, and stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.